we have 1,500 points here of UCM versus the Shaltari. And I'll go very quickly. In fact, what I'll do instead of going over each unit, I will just take a look at the rosters. That makes it much easier. There's the roster for the UCM. You can see I have a level 3 commander there, a couple armored formations, some scouts and whatnot. And you can see here on the Shaltari, and he's got a level 4 commander, and of course he's got a dragon in there too. That's always fun to fight. I love fire drakes. Alright, that's pretty much it, and once we get to round 1, I will come back and show you what's going on. Our mission is search, which gives us 32 possible objectives out there to find. This is going to be a little bit crazy. And you can see from our board here that there are objectives everywhere. We spent a little bit of time getting all of these 100% as even as we can. And it's going to be just a rush and grab. And I guess we shoot at each other when we're not grabbing objectives. Alright, off to the first round. Alright, end of turn 1 here. And point-wise, I'm looking at 8 victory points from possible objectives that were grabbed as I rolled in very quickly. A very balanced deployment on the part of the UCM. You can see there. And got into buildings to take objectives at this point. And over on this side of the board, where we have the Ferrum unleashing its drone horde out into the center of the board. One of the tactics I wanted to try today was actually deploying it with a dropship, because that gives you an extra 10 inches of movement on getting those drones forward. And I thought that might be highly valuable, being a skirmish player, learning that you have to have a dropship. I wanted to try that. So anywhere on the other side of the board, he grabbed 1 victory point. He did not go for too many of the objectives. Of course, you can still see that they're all laying there for a pretty easy retrieval. So he's going to be grabbing a lot of those this round. He is in 2 of the buildings here, you can see. And he's got some forward gates that move forward to the front of the table. The fire drake took the only shot of the game, firing across the board here at my anti-air, which was not very cool and not appreciated, but luckily they was not able to damage it with a small blast. So spreading out will be very valuable in the game here. So anyway, that is the end of round 1, and you can see that the Shaltari player left a number of things off the board ready to come in through gates. So it will be very interesting to see what he grabs by the end of this round and what is doing damage to what. Alright, we had a pretty brutal round 2. Right now the score stands at 12 to 10. The UCM has 12, but the Shaltari are in a better position to grab multiple objectives and fast. So far, only 1 objective has been found. So all these 6s that should be coming out on the board have not appeared. This guy now has an objective. So he's currently holding the 10th point for the Shaltari. As you can see, we had a lot of action going on. The drones came up here and took out some ground forces. The most interesting thing of the round was there was a small building here, and I tried taking it out. It was a 10-pointer. I did 8 damage to it, and then he was going to try and get them out real quick, and rolled a 1, which meant D6 damage points to the building. He rolled a 4, and basically it was enough to drop the building with the guys inside, and so that totally took out 1 whole objective here. Another interesting thing is, which was not cool at all, he used a gate up here to jump up here and grab an objective. Now that was just a little bit of rude. So I'm not too happy about that. This is also not cool because he will be able to check for this. I'm hoping that it's an actual objective so that I can fight for it. He's also in this building. he will have that, but it has 10 damage to it. If I do go first, this building may drop before he gets out of it. This guy down here, of course, is trying to get out of town and fast. If he manages to get out of town and fast, that could be a serious issue. Now, of course, he needs to activate it to get it out, and there's a lot of stuff right here on his butt that may actually be able to kill him and do some damage and slow that retreat out. So I guess that could be an issue there. Probably not. He's more than likely going to get that. He's also going to get this one. Nobody's in there contesting that building. That one. There's a loose objective down here. And over here on this side, I thought it'd be really cool to jump my snipers out in the middle of the street and grab an objective real quick for a point. It blew up on me. It did 2 damage. So right now it's anybody's game. It's the end of round 2, and the game has become very close, dangerous, and ugly. On the bright side, look, a damaged fire drake is always a good thing. Always a good thing. So if you have never fought Shaltari before, damage these things and take them out. They have how many damage points?
4. 5.
5 damage points. So one more good round of that. If that thing activates, this guy is now in range of it. And if these guys have a chance to activate first, they can actually maybe take that thing out. But, of course, remember that this is an objective game, and unless it's a draw, the rest of it just doesn't matter. So, anyhow, going into round 3, this will be a very interesting round, especially to see who goes first. Let's roll to see who goes first on video. So,
3. Tied.
So we tied.
Let's go to the highest.
He has the highest commander, which means he goes first.
I go first.
Which sucks, but he will get to make the first move. So here we go, and I'll talk you back here in a few minutes in round 3. Okay, we have something really incredible here. Now, this is one of those games that you talk about for a while, because this is going to come down to the wire. We're at the bottom of 3, is that right?
Yeah.
All right. So what happened here is a lot of things. We had an exploded Yari over here that grabbed an objective. We had a battle in here, of course, which the guys inside got slaughtered, the Braves, but they did get their point. He got a point there, and he pulled a fast one on me over here with quick thinking. With the what was the name of that tank?
Tomahawk.
With the Tomahawk, and he was able to interrupt my activation and get his objective off the board, which puts him at how many points?
14.
He is sitting at 14. Now I have 12 points off the board. I have an objective in hand. I found an objective over here. So that gives me 13 points. If I get this off, we are tied on victory points, and it will just become a battle to see who kills the most.
Yes.
All right. So that's kind of where we're at. And what he did here now is I shot 2 rapiers plus reaction fired 2 rapiers at this gate, and it failed horribly, which is amazingly horrible. But this is important because he was able to drop 2 Jaguars over here to try and counter this objective. Now I was able to get the objective very quickly and get back to this position. However, he has a lot of stuff coming in after this dropship. Oh, hey, and I forgot to move these at the end.
Yeah, it's fine.
So I'll move those real quick. But so what's going on here is it's going to be a battle as he tries to knock this out. I try and get off the board with this objective to pull it into a draw and do enough damage to each other if I can pull that off. So this round 4 may be a deciding factor, or the objective could physically be dropped here, and if it gets dropped here, there's going to be some tanks running for their lives, and some Wolverines hopefully coming up to grab this, trying to pull this objective off the board. So it is quite crazy over on this side of the board, and this side of the board over here right now, nothing going on. All right, the forward drones over here are just sitting here in front of all these guys who are probably just going to reaction fire them to death as soon as they move. Stopping them from doing a whole lot and slowing down my drone reproduction real fast. But everything over here now is just kind of not doing anything, trying to get over there. So now the Shaltari in this kind of a situation can really just grab the battlefield and pull it one direction, which is what he just did here. And it shows the strength of what Shaltari can do in really tight situations. Very important maneuvers. And that's pretty much it. And we'll get to the bottom of round 4 here is when I'll talk to you next. Okay, so we're back here just real quick because this is going into the top of 4. I'm 1 leader down, or 1 point down. He's got level 4, I've got level 3. And this dice roll is going to become important because this thing's going to just try and run off the battlefield. And I might just be able to do it. Or get it close enough where he can't reach it. And I can get other things to activate and just run off the board with it. So it's a very, very important die roll. And I need to roll a 6 here, or just enough to beat him. So here we go.
Nope.
And 4's rolled, which means he gets it because he's 1 up higher than me. And he activates first. Okay, we don't normally interrupt the gameplay here, but this is what happened the very first activation. It was quite hair-raising, of course, like Drop Zone oftentimes can be. Remember, this is round 4, top of 4. I was trying to get this objective off. He activated the Jaguars. Big surprise. These guys are big, bad, and they were going to just use their air fire to knock out my Condor. Now, the nice thing is paint often deflects guns. But that's not what happened. What happened instead is a quick thinking card. I dumped my entire hand, hoping to get anything that might help. And, of course, a quick thinking came up. Saved this guy's butt, which meant I interrupted his activation and activated this unit. So what he had to do, instead of using his normal firing, which would have hit on 3s, to knock this guy out of the sky, he now had to reaction fire me because my first movement was going to be that direction, away from the kukris in the backfield, in case he activated those later on or were part of this battle group, because I wasn't paying attention too much. And then it had plenty of time to fly off the field. He reaction fired, only 1 hit. He had to roll 4s to hit.
5s to hit.
Oh, 5s to hit with 1 hit with 8 shots, and armor of 5.
Energy 6.
Energy 6. He failed to do any damage. And so this objective flew off the board.
You're now tied.
And we are now tied. And some of my heavy hitters are now off the board, which also sucks for me because I can now use them. I now need them on the field. And for them to come back in the game is going to be hard. Which reminds me, you needed to roll for reserves on a 6+ for that guy to come back in. No. And then next round it's 4+.
Yep.
So beginning of round 4, it was very tight, and it pulls all the objectives. There's none left on the board. It is now 14-14. We are now looking at killing the most that we can. Now he's got some very heavy hitters over there, which have already reaction fired, so they're not going to be firing. But this is the damages total so far. I have lost 2 tanks so far. Are those dead?
Yeah, these are dead.
Holy cow, I've actually killed quite a bit.
You've actually killed a few things. Plus a kukri.
Yeah, kukris are just, I enjoy killing kukris because they're so deadly.
That too, which is
And
huge.
dragons, which are also very deadly. So far, the UCM pulled out by the hair of their butt a draw so far in victory points and are now ahead at the top of 4 going into the last 4th, 5th, and 6th round of the game. Basically, the whole second half is now available to see who can draw the most victory points.
Yep.
So I will chime back in after we see what goes on now, because the whole game just changed instantly.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, it's gotten a little bit interesting here. As you saw at the top of 4, the game changed from a hair-raising scenario over here. We're now at the bottom of 4, and what happened is it was just a grudge match. I mean, it was whatever's in the open is going to die, and it's just a grudge match. Everybody going after vengeance. Hey, this guy pissed me off, he dies. So there were casualties this round. None of the Jaguars died. One of them did take 3 damage. There's some drones on it. Some drones on it there. There was some other miscellaneous dropships that were destroyed. Dropships and condors were kind of the death. Got hit pretty hard this round. He did sneak some Braves into my infantry here. They entered the building, and that is going to be a battle now. Just because he was able to sneak him in with his gates from, and let's just look at this, they were over here. So they just jumped from one gate and jumped over and were in the next building. That fast, and there was no AA fire I could do because none was used. He had one of those little ground gates that was indestructible with invul saves. It did finally die, but it took my whole army pretty much to wipe it out for 15 points of damage. So anyway, we did rack up some death over on the Shaltari side, the death pile on the UCM side. The UCM, the heavy armor on the UCM kind of came into play this round. I believe that was the rapiers where we're taking hits and surviving. One interesting thing over here, which could be a big game turner still, we have Jaguars over here bearing down on my poor commander. He needs to get that killed and killed fast. I love it when focus doesn't work. So he needs to kill that for the extra points, because that's a big one for him. Plus, it will get rid of my cards for the last 2 rounds. And I need to kill as many of them as I can. At this point in time, I really wish I had a dropship sitting back here for my commander to pull him out of the danger zone, which I did not do. Of course, trying to save 41 points. Most people do that with your UCM. And on his side, his commander is marching up the battlefield. And I've got snipers, saber tanks, and some AA guns, which really can't hurt it. But there is some bearing down on his leader as well, although his leader is in a lot less danger than mine is.
Yep.
So that's kind of what's going on here this round. It's going to be another ugly round. In turn 5, we might have some very serious decisions already done by that, and we'll check in there. All right, here we are at the bottom of 5. We had some interesting stuff going on here. Of course, the single Jaguar here got jumped by lots of shooting, and it got exploded, which stopped his possibilities of really knocking out my commander in a single round of shooting, unless he really did some fantastic shots. But even then, the chances are pretty minute. So my commander did get saved. At the same time, some miscellaneous damage was done. Not a whole lot of damage was done this round, really. My sabers, once again pulling their weight, took a shot at, what's the name of that vehicle?
Coyote.
Took a shot at the Coyote and popped it. I rolled 2 6s for damage, which was total 4 damage. Really ridiculous.
I failed 2 4-up.
And he failed two 4-ups, and he just basically just popped out, and he is now hiding right back there behind this building.
Yep.
So we're pretty much going to call it, because the death tolls were like this, and was all that dead?
Pretty much, yeah.
And so all that's, nothing's in gates anymore?
One of his tomahawks is somewhere out here.
Oh, there's a tomahawk that would come back onto the board in round 6. And really, point-wise, you see him pretty much have it. The game was turned, literally, with a quick thinking, jumping off the board, and then saved again over here. I think once the game went to a draw, I had done more damage in the early rounds, I think, really.
Yeah.
Where he had jumped and really grabbed more objectives.
Exploded more.
And yeah. And he also drew more explosions. He had like 3?
3.
He had 3 1s of exploded. I had 1.
1.
And he lost several vehicles because of it.
A vehicle and 2 brave stands, which is kind of important.
Right, because the building dropped on their heads.
Yeah.
And so it was...
It also cost me 3 points.
So it did. It cost points, and it cost the whole thing. But the game was a draw at 14 to 14. And then it went to just counting down the kill points. And in that, the UCM took it. There's no real need to count it here. But it was a very, very exciting game. And then this is just the wind-up. So... But anyhow, that's it. We had the UCM versus the Shaltari, and I hope you enjoyed the battle report. It was an extremely fun game.